jump in there because I am pleased to welcome to the show. He's ready now, the former cruiserweight and heavyweight champion of the world. David Haye joins us live from, I think, Mexico. Hi, David.
Wow.
How are you?
Mexico.
I'm not bad. I'm good, thanks.
Thanks so much. Thanks so much for coming on. Firstly, how excited are you about this fight that's happening this weekend live on talkSPORT?
I'm very, very excited. It's the big boys. You cannot beat the big heavyweights going at it. The last fight was epic. I was there. I was calling the fight for BT Sport, and it was an epic fight. Wilder, was not at the races. Fury went out there and just put it straight on him from the very first bell and didn't let off in any way, shape, or form. And Fury just looked supreme, completely and utterly supreme. Wilder looked like a broken man, and everybody is completely and utterly writing off Deontay Wilder for this third fight. I haven't talked to anybody who believes he's even got a shot in this fight. Mm-hmm. I don't see it that way, though.
Why not? What have you seen that makes you think maybe he could upset?
I've seen Tyson Fury not preparing as he did the second time round. There was obviously the well-publicized rumors about the second fight getting put and delayed. Preparations weren't going that great. He's only just got into Vegas late September. 3-week training camp for a fight of this magnitude. Maybe there's some overconfidence going into this fight. Maybe he's so supremely confident from the second fight that he just believes he's got to roll into this third fight and it's going to be just a home run straight away. But Wilder is very, very fired up. Wilder truly believes and said it that he didn't have his right hand in that second fight. He believed that he's had surgery since then. And if he didn't have a right hand, let's say his bicep detached in the second fight, if that did happen, that would have contributed to him performing so poorly. So I'd like to see both fighters fit in the ring and go. And the first fight was epic. The first fight was great. The boxing skills from Fury was brilliant. The punch power from Wilder was great. It was a draw. I believe this second fight is going to be more explosive than the second fight and first fight put together. I think Wilder is going to know that Fury is going to attack him from the first bell, and he's going to have a plan for that. And Fury is going to not want to try and outbox him over the distance. He's going to want to continue the momentum from that second fight where he had so much success. So I just think it's going to be. I think that both fighters could get decked in this fight, and it's going to be a very, very explosive fight from the first bell.
Psychological advantage is huge in boxing. I'm sure it is, and you are one of the best at it, David. I mean, when you go in building up to a fight, we saw Usyk taking control at the centre of the ring against Joshua and outboxing him over that fight. Can we see that here? We're going to see Fury take the centre of the ring and not back down, because we all know, we've heard it before, but he's going to come forward at Fury. So is it going to be a quick fight, this? Is it going to be something that's over either way, pretty quickly?
It could be. It really could be one of those crazy shootouts. Wilder seems like he's got a massive point to prove. Fury feels like he just wants to get it out of the way. He just wants to get in there and get him out of the way. It's a bad energy to have going into a fight. He needs to realize this is the biggest and most important fight of his life. He's the flag bearer, the heavyweight champion now. All of the titles Anthony Joshua had, WBA, WBO, IBF, IBO belts, they're all gone now. They're in Ukraine. He's the only Brit holding the heavyweight title. He's got the Ring Magazine belt and he's got the WBC championship belt. He needs to keep them on. He needs to really make sure that, he's not overlooking Wilder, because listening to interviews from his team, it really feels like it's just a foregone conclusion. He's just frustratingly has to fight him because some courtroom said he has to do it. I'm like, no, it's a real fight that you signed to do. It's all up for grabs there. I hate to think of every title that we once had a couple of weeks ago all being gone now. In a 2-week period, we could lose every belt, every heavyweight championship belt could be either in America or the Ukraine. That doesn't sound like a world I'll be happy with.
David, listen, trying to put into words for us what it's like now, fight week, leading up to it. You've done all the boxing, all the sparring. It's now just press until you climb into that ring. What's it like? Is it quite a few days of frustration because you just want the fight to start? How do you deal with it all?
Yeah, different fights have different energies that they bring with it. A fight like this, for Fury, listen to Fury's interviews. He just wants to get it out the way. He just wants to get it out of the way and look to the future for bigger fights. He's already had this fight. The fight we're all excited about, he's already done it and won it real easy. So he's just going through the motions again. Wilder, on the other hand, he's in a completely different zone. He's on I need to prove to the world I'm better than everyone thinks I am. So he's going to train harder than he's ever trained in his life. You know, Fury, on the other hand, he's had a lot of issues recently, family issues that's distracted him from being in the gym and training. Completely understandable. But putting all these things together, it's just going to make for an absolute cracking night. BT Sports box office is going to be worth staying up for this one. It's going to be a barnstormer.
Oh yeah, we'll all be staying up. Don't worry about that. I mean, how was it for you last week, David? Was it last week or the week before? I can't remember. But
It was amazing. It was amazing. A buddy of mine challenged me, and by pure fluke, there was an event on Triller where obviously Evander Holyfield was boxing Vito Belfort, and you had Tito Ortiz and Anderson Silva. It was a crazy card, and me and Joe went and did an exhibition after not being in the ring for 3 years. Loved it. It was great fun. I actually called out Tyson Fury after.
I was going to ask you about that. Yeah, but you're going to retract. You're going to retract that now, I'm guessing.
No, I'm not retracting it. It's the only fight I wouldn't want to make it a comeback, but it's the only fight that's big enough in my mind that's worth the potential accolades and the potential highs from winning that are worth. But
David, let me ask you. Obviously, you're doing it for the money. I've got no problem with that whatsoever. But you don't honestly believe in your heart of hearts that you would have any chance of beating him, do you?
I genuinely do.
Why?
I didn't.
Why? I mean, he's better than Tony Bellew.
After I lost to Tony Bellew,
yeah,
I would have said 100%. I can't beat Tony Bellew. I thought, no, I can't beat Bellew. Leave it 3 years. Let everything heal. Let your shoulder, your Achilles, fucking back, all the different bits and pieces. And then you go for a 4-week training camp, which was a third of what I usually do. And I was doing stuff that I wasn't doing before, and I felt really, really good.
Yeah, but David,
if the universe is it, guys.
I just don't believe you can beat him. Honestly, it'd be like me calling you
That's why. That is the reason why I'd have so much confidence, because everybody, even his dad, was calling me out. That's how little they believe I've got anything. Think about that. His dad's 60. His dad's calling me out. That's how much they don't believe it.
But David, listen. I've met you a few times. You're obviously a lovely fella, and you've been a world champion. So you've reached the very top, and I've got
two weights.
Utmost respect for you, right? But you know,
you saw that last fight. You saw that Bellew fight. You saw it. You was there.
Yeah, but you lost to Tony Bellew. Yeah. And that was a few years ago, and Tyson Fury is 10 times the boxer that Bellew is. So I don't see how you would. I just don't believe you think you can beat him. Like, for argument's sake, yeah. if you said, do you know what? I'm going to fight him, and I'm going to put my house, my car, everything. Then I'll go. Do you know what? He actually does believe it, but you wouldn't, because you honestly can't tell me now, hand on heart.
The chances of me winning the fight, if you look at statistically, are like 1 out of 100. If you look at statistically, but if you look at my last two fights, got an Achilles tendon rupture, I've got a bicep rupture before the second fight, got battered in the second fight, haven't done anything in 3 years. There's no reason why, on paper, I've got any chance. But what I do have, I have every single person thinking I've got no chance.
But there's a reason, Dave. There's a reason for that.
Okay, I know exactly. But do you think Tyson Fury would? How hard do you reckon Tyson Fury would train to fight me, knowing he was fighting me, knowing how washed up and finished I am?
I would imagine, because he's a professional, he'd train as hard as he would for any fight.
How hard do you think he's trained for this fight now against Deontay Wilder?
Exceptionally hard.
3 weeks he's done.
Yeah, but Deontay Wilder's a totally different kettle of fish, David.
Tyson Fury's way better than me on paper, for sure. He's way better than me in reality. Think about it, I haven't done anything for 3 years. Tyson Fury should be training for this fight significantly harder than he has done. That's my point. I think the psychology of someone believing they can completely dominate you, and they don't quite understand what you bring to the table, gives you a power.
Do you think you could beat Deontay Wilder?
I don't know. I don't know. I'd find Deontay Wilder probably more tricky than.
Do you think you could beat Joshua? Could you beat Joshua?
I don't know. I genuinely don't know. But I wouldn't want to go for a training camp to fight either one of those, because both of those have just been beat. I'd only go for a training camp to punish myself, to do what I need to do, if it was for the very, very best result, which means the number one in the division, Fury is WBC lineal champion, all that. If you could beat him, then it would be worth the battering, it'd be worth the training. But outside of that, I wouldn't bother doing it. No.
Okay. All right.
If I could pick anybody, it's the number one guy. It's always been the number one guy. But otherwise, I'll be happy to stay retired and chill and have a nice life.
It sounds like you're enjoying life at the moment to the max. Dave, a real pleasure and honour speaking to you. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thanks, David.
No, my pleasure, guys.
There you go. Listen, fair play to him. You know, to have the confidence like that is a wonderful thing. That was David Haye, the former cruiserweight and heavyweight champion of the world. A reminder, BT Sport Box Office will show Fury against Wilder 3, the trilogy, exclusively live in the UK on Saturday, the 9th of November. For more info, go to www.btsport.com/sport box office.